All right, a beautiful morning. Welcome to Women's Corner. Thank God it's Friday edition. My name is Rose Blossom. Today we'll be talking about pregnancy in women, and we're taking it from several angles. We can take it from the topic pregnancy, and of course, some people have this lot of questions about pregnancy too, especially during their menstrual period, how they can get pregnant, how it's very easy to to be sure that you get pregnant. What are the seasons and timing? A lot of people still do not understand what this is about. So we have a nurse that will be joining us. She's a nurse, she's a midwife personnel, so she's going to be doing that with us, talking extensively because of our viewers today. Okay, like I said, this program always runs from Monday to Friday, 11 a.m. to 12 noon. And of course, you can join us live on Facebook and Twitter. Just type in Galaxy Television and you can join us. Also, we are on YouTube. We have Galaxy TV Comedy, we have Galaxy TV News, we have Galaxy TV Entertainment, and of course we have Galaxy TV. So just so you know, like, subscribe and share. You're welcome to the program once again. So before we go for programs and of course start talking in detail what we have for today, let's go on a short break. Right after the short break, I'll introduce our guest for today, and of course we'll start talking about pregnancy in women. Stay with us. All right, welcome back. Yes, today, like I said, we're talking about pregnancy in women from two basic aspects. So I have Adesua Juan Oni. She is a registered nurse and she's a midwife. She's also the founder of PSF, which is Pregnancy Support Foundation. She's also the founder of the Stepped Up Nurse Academy. She's a writer and she's also an author. Welcome to the show, Juan. Good morning, Juan. All right, while we try to get Juan, we have a little tips for women. I think 2 days ago we talked about tips for women in their 30s. Then yesterday we had tips for Gen Zs, but we're not able to play that, but hopefully we'll play that some other time. Now today I thought about it. I said, okay, if we're talking about the Gen Zs, which are in their 20s, their teenage age, we talked about the 30s, let's talk about the 40s, and hopefully pretty soon we'll talk about the 50s, the tips, healthy tips they need to follow through to be able to keep them in check. So let's quickly go for tips in women in their 40s. Congratulations to you, you're in your 40s anyways. I feel like when you're growing older, you're growing closer to being a youth. It depends on how your lifestyle is and how you probably maintain your lifestyle while you're even growing up. So you know what, it's not too late to still maintain a healthy habit or a healthy lifestyle. So let's look at these tips to help you in your 40s. If you're not 40s yet, you can still keep to this. It will help you better. So let's go for the tips. We'll be right back to continue the program.
Tips for women in their 40s. Begin preventative healthcare. Turning 40 typically means taking proactive steps towards maintaining your health. Visit your doctor annually for a checkup. Get your immunization lab work, for example, testing your cholesterol and glucose level. Pap smear and mammogram for women. For men, make sure you have an annual testicular exam with a doctor and monthly on your own. Maintain a positive attitude. If you review your goals and how you're spending your hours, you'll become more intentional in your daily life and be able to meet your long-term ambitions. Make a habit of gratitude. It's good for the heart and soul. Have a monthly date night. Keep good company. Compliment people. Laugh and smile. Share the fun first before work. These suggestions can help replenish who we are. Sleep. We need 7 to 9 hours of sleep nightly. If we can avoid a blaring alarm clock waking us up, all the better. Avoid electronics 2 hours before you sleep and taking the phone to bed. Exercise. Stop sitting. Get a stand-up or treadmill desk. Take micro breaks. Stand up and do stretching exercises or go on a walk. Do stationary exercises. Do weight training to improve muscle strength. Controversies. Alcohol, cigarettes, and other potential addictions such as shopping, playing video games, or gambling can create stress. But reversing this type of habit can have benefit. Quality of life can improve if you stop. Reach out to your doctor or people in your community for support.
All right, welcome back. Okay, like we'll talking about tips, if you find out, most of the tips for the Gen Zs, the 30s, the 40s, they're seemingly alike because basically it's all about lifestyle and eating healthy. And if you check in most of the tips, avoid smoking and drinking. It's very, very important so that you don't have any liver, kidney, one of those things that, they start to determine the amount of years or days you have on earth. So let's live healthy and always try to be happy. Okay, I have Adesua Joan Oni. Like I said, she's a registered nurse and a midwife. She's also the founder of PSF, a Pregnancy Support Foundation. She's also the founder of the Stepped Up Nurse Academy. She's a writer and she's an author. Welcome to the show, Joan. Good morning.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for joining in. You look beautiful.
Thank you.
All right. So, we're doing this because we need to educate the public, basically. So I'm so happy you're here and you joined us. So my first question, let's talk about the ectopic pregnancy first. So what exactly is ectopic pregnancy? What do you think women should understand what it means? Because sometimes I hear, but I'm not certain, that some people tend to stigmatize people who have ectopic pregnancy, and some believe they have this, maybe I don't know if it's a cultural thing or an educational thing. They will believe the person probably does not even have a womb, so the person is just fortunate enough to even get pregnant. So educate and enlighten us what exactly ectopic pregnancy is.
Okay, I'm really pleased to be here, right? And I am happy that there's yet another opportunity to reach out to people beyond my locality. Now, ectopic pregnancy is not the fault of whoever is whoever has that condition, right? It's not most times it's not even related to what that person is doing. So I think the stigmatization is based on lack of awareness. Now, ectopic pregnancy is there's a lining. There's a lining inside our uterus as women. Every woman has a womb. We call it uterus in the medics, right? Now, the womb is found in your pelvic cavity. That is somewhere between your thighs, right? That is where your womb is located. Now, the womb has an outer cover, a middle muscular layer, and an internal lining. Now, that internal lining is the part that gets shed off every month when you menstruate. Now, that lining in ectopic pregnancy, it means that the baby gets fertilized. That is, you get pregnant. Like, fertility happens, conception happens, but instead of the baby to stay inside that pouch where God has asked it to stay, it decides to get implanted somewhere else. That implantation happens somewhere else apart from that pouch. Maybe down here in the cervix or up there in the fallopian tubes. After the pouch of the pregnancy, of the uterus, that's the womb, you have the fallopian tube. Every woman has 2 fallopian tubes. So in ectopic pregnancy, that pregnancy can happen down in the cervix, in the fallopian tubes, or even outside in the abdominal cavity. Now, it happens outside in the abdominal cavity if a lining of the uterus, a similitude of the lining of the uterus is found outside the uterus, that's outside the womb. So it can happen in the ovary, in the fallopian tubes, somewhere else apart from that pouch. And once it is not inside that pouch, that is down here in our the lower part of your belly, right? If the pregnancy does not implant there, then it leads to very, very severe pain. Very, very severe pain. And ectopic pregnancy happens usually in the first trimester. So it's somehow easy to note. The pain is always crazy, like very crazy. And when you're pregnant, you're not supposed to be in pain. Pain is a wrong symptom for pregnancy. So once you're pregnant, sometimes people will be pregnant for 3 months. They don't even know they are pregnant. For 4 months, they don't even know they are pregnant. So when you are pregnant and you have that kind of sharp, severe pain, then it's time to run to the hospital. It's an emergency. Ectopic pregnancy is an emergency condition. It's not a condition you start asking her auntie, uncle, calling her, or doing unnecessary things. Just run to the hospital.
Thank you very much for that explanation. Thank you for breaking it down for people to understand, for us to be able to grasp the real meaning of or why sometimes people have ectopic pregnancy. Anyways, you didn't even really get to the why, but now that's good. That's where I'm going to now. So, what actually causes ectopic pregnancy? What is the main cause? And if one should have such a pregnancy, what are the symptoms that you said one now, you said pain. When you have pain, usually some people get pregnant, like you said, 3-4 months, they don't even know. Now, aside from pain, what other symptoms would someone have or feel that will show that this person has an ectopic pregnancy, and what actually causes this type of pregnancy?
Okay, I will start with the symptoms, then I'll go to the causes, right? Now, there's this pressure you feel. You have pelvic pressure. You feel the pain at the pelvic region, and then you sometimes feel shoulder pain. There's something we call referred pain in medics. You can have that referred pain. So if you're pregnant, or you feel you're pregnant and you are bleeding is one, right? The person will definitely be bleeding. Then or spotting, the person may be spotting or bleeding, and then there's this referred shoulder pain or back pain, and then there's pelvic pressure or pelvic pain associated with that severe, as in the whole of your abdomen is painful. So when there is a gathering of all those symptoms, or sometimes you may not even have all the symptoms, but when you have severe pain, it's best you go to the hospital, and then they run some diagnostic checks on you to be 100% sure that this is what is going on in your body. So as for the what brings about this condition, number one, there are idiopathic causes that you may not even be able to pinpoint. Idiopathic is that we are not 100% sure what is that particular cause. Then we have pelvic inflammatory disease, right? That is PID. What women call PID, they said I get, they thought say I get PID. They thought say I get PID. Pelvic inflammatory disease is one that happens to many women. It's not an uncommon condition, right? And usually treated with antibiotics, especially if it's bacterial in nature. Now, when it heals, there can be scarring. That's one thing that makes the baby, that is in ectopic pregnancy, that means the baby is not staying in the right place. What makes it not stay in the right place is what I'm saying. I've mentioned PID. Another reason is carrying from surgical operation. That's if the woman has had a previous surgery. The surgery can be a cesarean section. Maybe her first baby was CS, right? And then the surgery was carried out. Then the surgery period has ended. Everything has ended. She healed. Then when you heal, you could have a scar. You understand? When people heal now, you have a cut and there is a scar. Now, if you have a cut during cesarean section, when you are having a cesarean section, they will cut you, and then the place will heal, and then there will be scarification. So now that baby, that scar in that place has caused an obstruction, right? And then in the fallopian tube, if there's any form of obstruction, it can also be a scar, right? And it could be any form of blockade. Once there is a blockade somewhere, then that baby is trapped from undergoing the right process of implantation. So I've mentioned about 4 causes now. Number 1, a previous surgery, any kind of surgery in the abdomen, right? Then number 2, a previous cesarean section, right? A previous ectopic pregnancy. Once somebody has an ectopic pregnancy before, it's possible that the person may have it. Then I've talked about idiopathic causes. Then I've talked about scar formation and PID. Now, PID is what leads to inflammation that now leads to scarification. So sometimes when that healing process or inflammatory process goes on in the body, when pregnancy is about to occur, it may cause an hindrance. Once that the movement or the implantation of that baby is impeded, it can lead to ectopic pregnancy. I hope that was explanatory enough.
Yes, yes, that was well detailed. Like I said, you're an expert, so definitely I know you will give us a very good breakdown. And amazingly enough, you're not using the bogus medical terms. You're using a term that every normal person should be able to understand. Even a layman would definitely understand what you're explaining. I like what you just said. Now, you said something. You said the cause. You said the symptoms. So, how do you actually diagnose ectopic pregnancy? Because now you said something. You said it is outside the womb. So do you have just this normal how do you call it, normal PT test, or you go for a blood test, or there is a way to actually be able to determine that someone has an ectopic pregnancy?
Yes, you're already going towards it. So the pain is like every, women experience pain, right? Now, when you have menstrual pain, there is a way you already know you have menstrual pain. The way the pain comes, you have gotten used to it over the years, and you know that, oh, this is not obviously menstrual pain. That one is out of it. Now, there are different conditions in pregnancy that bring about pain, right? But this ectopic pregnancy pain is C for crazy. As in, you will just know, because most times the pain may be on a particular part. For instance, if that ectopic pregnancy is happening on one of the fallopian tubes, if it's on the left fallopian tube, the pain may be more in that area, right? So sometimes the woman may not be able to diagnose. So the person needs to go to the hospital. Now, when she goes to the hospital, a normal PT test will reveal pregnancy, because pregnancy has actually occurred, because HCG, human chorionic gonadotrophin, is an hormone that is released in your body when you're pregnant. Immediately you're pregnant, HCG is released into your bloodstream. So that when anybody does a PT test for you and they see it, once that HCG touches that PT strip, it will read positive. You get belle. Nobody say you no get belle. There is actually a formation of conception, but the location is what made it a tragedy. The location where it's implanted, that's what makes it a bad story, because that pregnancy is not viable. If it grows, the woman will die and the baby will not survive, because it is in the wrong location. So when the person gets to the hospital, other tests will be run, especially ultrasound. Obviously, once an ultrasound is done, they see that, oh, this is where the baby is located, and everything is then. Most times they go straight to the theater once they can run all the lab tests that is necessary. They take the person as much as possible the same day to the theater, because the pain is always crazy.
Hmm. Okay, thank you very much. I like the fact where you broke down the fact that even if you do, some persons will tell you, I do test, I did my PT test, and I wasn't, getting a positive response. Some persons just walk to a pharmacy and buy this PT, the very cheap one, and without noting that some of this PT are even bad. So they think they are not pregnant, and they just, go along with whatever it is. It's probably when the tummy start protruding or they are spitting, those chronic symptoms. I will use chronic because a lot of people get irritated by some, some pregnancy signs. You understand, like spitting, wanting to eat too much pepper, craving for dried bones. In fact, amazing urges and taste for things. Okay, now, is there any factor that actually causes this ectopic pregnancy? Aside from what you said could be the sign or the causes, are there things that could actually make you have such pregnancy? Is there something, a lifestyle or something that causes that?
Okay, well, there are some lifestyle behaviors, maybe like smoking or drinking. But you know what? When we talk about smoking exposes you to a lot of conditions. A lot, because smoking now goes into your bloodstream. When it gets to your bloodstream, where it will cause you havoc, is where you cannot predict. It may be cancer, it may be another condition, it may be anything. But when we talk about the reproductive system, smoking is not good, because it will affect the cilia. There's something called cilia. There are little tiny hairs inside the fallopian tube of every woman. Those tiny, very tiny, they are not seeable with the eye. You can't see it with your eyes. It's microscopic, right? They are inside each of the fallopian tubes. These cilia move. They move the egg. That's the egg you release every month. That if you don't get pregnant, will come down as menses. That egg you release from your ovary will come in through the ovaries and get into the fallopian tube and get into the uterus. And then if no action happens, no pregnancy or what have you, it gets shed in your monthly menses and goes down. Now there's cilia inside that fallopian tube that moves the egg. You wonder, how did the egg have leg to move? So it's the cilia that moves, very tiny hair-like bodies. So now when you are a smoker, you have reduced the function of those cilia. And apart from the function of cilia, you have reduced the function of many cells of the body. You have disrupted the function of many cells in the molecular level, in the cellular level. You have started disrupting all those cells. That's why you can have cancer, because it's the basic reason why you have cancer is that the cells in the very, very small format are already misbehaving. They're already misbehaving. So smoking has already exposed you to such things. So that one is a lifestyle habit that can expose you to that. Like too much eating that may lead to weight gain, and if you have problem with digesting glucose, right? There's insulin resistance. That kind of person may have issues with gaining weight, because sometimes gaining weight may be related to PCOS and all of those things, and then you have issues with getting pregnant. So ectopic pregnancy, in this case, if we are talking about lifestyle behaviors that predisposes one to ectopic pregnancy, smoking may be one of them, right? And then those surgeries, if you had a reason to go through a surgery, if there's clarification, that's why some people, when you go to some big hospitals, very big hospitals, they may charge you a lot for surgery. Now, the kind of materials they use for their surgery, they make it as simple as possible so that the probability of having a scar, you have a scar definitely, but the severity, if you look at this, I don't know if you knew our mothers when cesarean section was formerly popular, the scar was even different. It comes from up down. It's usually a straight scar. Those people usually have a lot of issues with keloid and scarring, a lot of scarring inside. In fact, after the surgery, 6 months after, a year after, they are still feeling the biting healing sensations of that scar tissue. Now, when there's scarring, even other tissues in the abdomen can get gummed to that scar tissue. For instance, you have a scar tissue on your surface of your belly right here, but the organ inside may get attracted to that scar tissue and heal with it and cause an adhesion. So the person begins to have a lot of complex issues. You just say a woman sit down, she's having pain. They will run all kinds of tests and not be able to find what's going on until maybe an ultrasound is done and laparoscopy is done to check what is going on in that place, and they see some additions. You see that, you had a scar one time and the scar led to this and led to that and led to that. So sometimes you may not even be able to pinpoint from sitting down. Even doctors may not be able to pinpoint from palpating you or scutating you. They have to run a lot of laboratory investigations before they will now come to, okay, this is what is wrong with you. So I believe I've been able to do some justice.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, now because of what you said a whole lot of things, to be honest, and it's as good as saying for someone that has ectopic pregnancy, it's better you go for surgery. Which brings me to the question: are there any specific treatment for ectopic pregnancy, and must it be surgery? If it's not just surgery, are there other non-clinical treatments that people actually take or do for them to actually help themselves out of this situation?
Well, this is a tricky question because I don't think I've encountered such or I've read up such, or I've seen such that there is another remedy for ectopic pregnancy, because a pregnancy actually occurred, and the pregnancy will be there until somebody takes it out. It will not resolve. I don't think it disappears on its own, because there are some conditions that, if you leave it for a period of time, if you use if you take some vegetables and you put yourself on strict diet and you undergo some exercises, with time it resolves on its own. This one will not resolve because it's a baby. And the problem is that the baby is not okay. Chromosomal abnormality is one reason for ectopic pregnancy if the baby did not form well. right? Sometimes it predisposes to the happenstance of ectopic pregnancy. So if that baby is there and nothing is taking it out, then something has to take it out. And it's like surgery, because you cannot pray it away that, oh, I'll cast and bite and this baby will come up by it. It may not lead to a missed abortion. You know, some people have chromosomal abnormalities, and then it leads to a missed abortion, and then you bleed and bleed it out, and then you have an abortion. That is a natural, an abortion, a miscarriage that happened. Even when a miscarriage happens, sometimes you still have to go to the theater, or you still have to go to the labor ward. They will suction the rest of it out of your body, because if any tissue, any baby or placenta associated tissue remains inside your uterus, the woman will likely die, because she will just have infections, bleeding and bleeding, because the body is trying to eject that foreign body. It sees it as a foreign body. It's not a baby, it's not growing. It sees it as a foreign body and it wants to eject it. In the aspect of ectopic pregnancy, I don't think the baby will eject by itself. So most times they have to bring out that baby surgically. But there may be other other treatment modalities that I don't know. Maybe I would.
Okay. All right. I wanted to ask her a question, but you already answered the viewer's question, because the viewer's question is coming from the angle of, how about if I believe in miracle and I do not want to go under the knives and I want to have this baby, or I want the baby to disappear, evaporate? You understand? I don't know what she's thinking, but you already answered that. Maybe there is a treatment one can have that necessarily does not have to get the person to go under the knives, or basically, if the baby does not eject itself, then somebody has to eject it out, which I think is going to be safe, because to be honest, I've not seen anyone with ectopic pregnancy and decided to pull through to the very end, and one of them just has to go, either the mother or the child. So most times, most spouses always pick the wife because they know another baby is going to come instead of. Plus, I don't think it's even possible for a child to grow outside of the womb to maturity before even coming out as a baby. Okay, I have one more question, and this one is relating to. I have a lot of people asking questions in relation to menstrual period. They seeing their period, and of course, at the same time, they're probably pregnant for 2, 3 months, 4 months even, and they're still seeing their menstrual flow. So there's a math there that a lot of people do not understand. I don't know if we still have Adesuwa Oni. If the network is better, maybe she could answer that question. If not, I want us to go for cooking. Okay. Oni is still frozen. Network is not on our side today. Hopefully she'll be able to answer this. And this is one question that she was looking forward to answer, because that is, it's not a mystery, it's just biology. And it's something every lady should know, because the symptoms will still be there, but not really there because you feel you're having your menstrual flow. But I'm not going to answer that because I don't want to act as the expert. She's the expert. So let's quickly go for cooking tips. Hopefully by then, when we come back, we'll have the network on our side again. So let's go for cooking tips. This one is just for the weekend, for some persons who do not know the best hygiene for cooking. Like some people pour their hairs down, they have their long nails, they are all having makeup, I don't know, no ventilation in the kitchen. Well, some people will say, do you know where I stay? So how do you expect that? I understand. But at the same time, hygiene is very important for yourself, for your children, and of course for your spouse. So let's go for cooking tips for everyone, even men. Yes, you guys are cooking now. So for those who don't want to enter the kitchen, that's you. But for men that want to cook too. So this cooking tip is just for you and for the women and of course for the children. We'll be right back after that till hopefully Joanne will answer the last question. Take it away.
Cooking tips everyone should know. Always rinse your rice. Most types of rice have a thin layer of starch on the outside of each piece. If you don't rinse it, the rice might not absorb water properly. Some of the starches can also make the rice bitter. Also, rice often touches a lot of hands before it's bagged and placed in store shelves. Just like you should wash fruit and vegetables before cooking and eating,
it's smart to give these petite grains a quick rinse. Cooking requires patience. Perhaps this is the most important cooking tip of all time. Cooking can be quick, but when it requires time, you need to let it happen. Let pans heat up properly before you add oil. Let oil heat up properly before you add food. Let food sit and brown evenly before you flip. You won't regret the time it takes when you see that delicious brown crust or charred bit, but you can't recreate it once you've rushed the process. Keep your knives sharp. In general, hone your knives after each use or every other use and sharpen them once a year. This makes cutting faster and easier on your wrist. Every time you use a knife, some of its teeth will be bent or misaligned. You hone the knife to fix them to return the teeth to their optimal position. Read the whole recipe first. That way, there are no surprises. You'll know in advance if you need to pre-melt or cook anything, or if there's something that needs to rest overnight. Prep and measure all ingredients first. Pre-chop vegetables and measure all the ingredients into small containers before you begin cooking. This can save you from forgetting ingredients or rushing around a frenzy while the stove is on. Don't crowd the pan. Whether you're searing meat or sautéing vegetables, leaving space between pieces allows them to brown and crisp. Crowding leads to soggy and steamed food. Clean as you go. You'll thank yourself later. It saves space, time, and muscle if you wash dishes as you use them, or at least soak them while you cook.
All right, welcome back. Okay, if we still have, if Adesuwa's network is back, please just flash on the screen. Let me know if I'll just. Oh, yay, she's here. Okay, so I want to ask one last question before we let you go. And this one is about people that still see their menstrual period even while being pregnant at the 3rd or even 4th month, and yet they still see their menstrual period and probably don't have even those very strong sign or symptoms of being pregnant, but yet they are wondering how they are pregnant and still seeing their period. So what is the dynamic, or what is the maths behind it, so that people will understand? Ooh, Joan is frozen. Okay, I think Joan is frozen. She can answer the question. It's painful. Hopefully you'll have Joan or... Okay, you're here?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, please, since you heard the question, just go ahead with the answer. Network is pretty bad. Okay, I can't wait any longer because our time is already up. I just wanted her to answer that question. But don't worry, don't worry. Next week I have another nurse that will be joining us, and probably she'll be able to do justice to this particular question. I postponed this question from last week to this week, and yes, we could not answer it. Don't worry, next week we'll get to answer your question. So just keep it a days with us. I will not tell you which of the days because those nurses, they are very busy, and you know the time we are short of nurses and doctors in Nigeria, so they are always busy. So when you see one on screen or you see one in the studio, do appreciate them because they had to take out from their own resting period to be, you know, right here with us in the studio or even via Zoom. I want to appreciate Adesuwa Joanoni for joining us. Thank you so much for doing a fabulous, fantastic work. I've seen a lot of our proteges and they are doing perfectly well. Even they've been on the program, and I will not even call them proteges because they're actually experts, but these are the persons that are, you know, part of organizations, and it's a good thing when you keep creating awareness of women's health, especially during pregnancy. Anyways, we'll call it a wrap today on Women's Corner. Thank you. This Friday. Up next is News on the Air, and as usual on Friday on The Buzz, we have Friday edition where we have movie reviews, music, we have artists, and of course we deliberate a little bit about what's trending online when it comes to the entertainment world. Until then, have a beautiful day for yourself. My name is Rose Blossom. Bye for now.